Fuck, look at that move.
If you enjoyed this whole ECW shit we're watching,
I like that right there.
Go to a GCW show. Very entertaining. Gonna get your money's worth. A lot of young guys working real hard. Sense of community. Still cool to see Joey Janela and Orange Cassidy and Marco Stunt there, but you've got a lot of other really great stars. Nick Gage has off the charts charisma. It's my first time seeing Chris Dickinson, who I think is going to be a big deal one day. I think if Bruce Pritchard ever sees him, he'll love him. And of course, Mance Warner was there, and he had a WCW rules match where they recreated like a ton of Starrcast and Starrcade rather, and WCW finishes in a row. They even had Sting come out. I mean, it was something else. Where are you at on Effie?
F him.
Oh, you don't like it?
I don't know who's Effie.
Effie is a flamboyant character in GCW, and he wears like fishnets to the ring and comes out to an Elton John song. And I mean, the crowd's really in Effie. He's got a great character. Well, he whips Manser into the ropes, and of course Mance hits the ropes and starts coming back, and Effie just plops down on all fours and yells, "Let me suck that dick, Manser." And the crowd starts chanting, "Suck that dick, suck that dick." It was great. So of course Mance, he's from Bucksnort, Tennessee. I mean, he told me once, "Ain't nothing gay about getting your dick sucked, son." So he unbuckled his belt and undid his jeans and did the big pantomime reach up way high to go way low, like he's going to pull the old hog meat out, and then comes up and just did the double eye poke. It was great. You would have loved it. I was like, this is Tony Schiavone's shit right here. Mance Warner is going, and Effie are going to be on bigger platforms soon. And you know what? Brett Lauderdale, the guy who sort of drives the train for GCW, he has an incredible eye for talent, cause I've seen so many guys who are now with you over on AEW that I first saw there.
Mm-hmm.
Kid Kash, man, can do a lot of shit here. It's weird. I always wonder why Kid Kash didn't make it bigger. I mean, obviously he had a good career. He bounced around and was everywhere, but it always felt like he could have done more. He's one of your Virginia boys, but he was in WCW right there at the very tail end. His only match is the final episode of Thunder on March 21st. And that's bad timing. But he was in ECW, off and on from like 96 to 01, but not much consistently until the tail end. And then was in TNA for a few years, and then WWE for a few years, and then back in TNA. And it's just weird that he didn't have more of an opportunity.
We got here, man. Fuck. Well, Mikey took the brunt of that.
Mikey has developed quite the legacy as a wrestling trainer. I think he has former students now with every major company, whether it's Impact or WWE or AEW. It's pretty cool, the legacy he's got, not just as a performer, but as a trainer now.
I tell you what you have done for me today.
What's that?
You have made me realize that there's plenty of talent out there. Well, look at that. 3 of those, man.
3 in a row, man. Bottom rope, second rope, top rope. That's a super crazy original. He's the first guy I saw do it. And then later, Christopher Daniels would do it when he would call his, of course, the best moonsault ever. By the way, I felt bad for Christopher Daniels, but I was really glad that he had a good sense of humor about it. A few weeks ago, we was wrestling a Pentagon and went for like a little springboard moonsault off the legs. I'm sure it's got a name, but it was always like the Van Damme style moonsault to me, where he would do it with his legs or his thighs instead of his feet. And he just ate it on the ramp, and the internet had a lot of fun with it. But then Being the Elite came out and they turned it into something. And I was glad to see that he had a good sense of humor about things. Shit happens.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say something here, and you're going to cause me to say, you're going to claiming I'm sucking up.
Oh, here we
But
go.
but you're wrong. I just absolutely love being the Elite.
No, it's a great show.
Oh, it is.
But listen, being the Elite without it, AEW doesn't exist. And that's fucking not debatable, by the way. And I know that there's a lot of people who are going to say, oh, well, this could have happened or that could have happened. Nope. None of the storylines, none of the characters, none of the passion, none of the sense of community between the performers and the fans would have existed to make All In the incredible success it was. And then, you know, everybody, Tony Khan included, when they see All In, they're like, this is really impressive. And there can be real building blocks here. But those guys were making millions of dollars from selling t-shirts and personal appearances and merch, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all from a YouTube show.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they believed in themselves and they bet on themselves and then they worked at it and they promoted it and it grew. And now AEW is a thing. So no, I agree. I'm a big proponent of betting on yourself and they own the distribution and well done. And by
Well
the way,
done is right.
the unsung heroes of that, even though we're jacking off being the Elite, let's be clear, we're talking about the Jacksons, Matt and Nick, and obviously,
Oh, that's right.
lots of other contributors, but the germ of the idea was theirs, and that will be their legacy in wrestling one day.
Yeah. Sometime during the past 3 years when you and I were doing this podcast, you mentioned the Young Bucks to me. And you talked about the Melcher driver, and you talked about talk about how big they were. And I just kind of wrote it off as, you know, again, you know, you talk about a lot of this. At that time, they were independent wrestlers. And I just thought, what the hell. But then I started watching Being the Elite. And then I got to know them. And I just they're just absolutely sensational. And they're sensational not only because of being the Elite, what they can do in the ring, but they are just really great guys, and the business is better for them.
You know, here's the deal. You know, and I know, we're not going to get too far in the weeds here, but the presentation of good guys and bad guys in real life compared to on screen are two totally different things. You know, I've had that conversation a lot with guys who work in the business. Like, hey, if people only knew who the real bad guys in wrestling were, because there are some absolute shitheads in professional wrestling, and you would not know that if you were not within the inner workings a little bit. And I'm not saying I'm in the business, but I'm saying I've been close enough to the inside to know, oh, okay, on TV, this guy's a great guy, but in real life, he's a fucking piece of shit.
Right.
The Young Bucks are exactly what you expect them to be. I don't think I have ever heard anyone say anything to disparage a Young Buck. No one's ever disagreed. Maybe they have disagreed, but no one's ever had a bad thing to say about the Jacksons. Look at this right here, dude. Well, look, what are they doing? Kid Kash. Oh my God. What a commitment Mikey Whipwreck has to the business. Off the top rope, Frankensteiner to the floor through a table. And it's at this point, it's probably old hat for ECW, but what a bump that was in 2019, much less 2000.
I'm glad he took it flat on his back, though. I can tell you that. I was thinking when they first started, he'll go head first on that. But it was a bump, pretty spectacular. No, but back to the Young Bucks.
Everybody loves them. Nobody has a bad thing to say about them. Like
I am such a mark for them. I really am.
I mean, here's the deal. I'll be honest. I heard about them a lot before I saw a lot about them. And, you know, and all you would hear is critics say, oh, well, they throw too many super kicks and it's 1,000 super kicks and blah, blah, blah. And so I went into it with like a predisposed idea of what it was going to be. And then I watched it and I was like, the fans are going fucking bananas. Who's shitting on this? Old fuddy-duddies, sticks in the mud, who time has passed them by. And, you know, you and I have some friends who are not Young Buck fans and say, oh, I don't get it and blah, blah, blah. But magically, if they work somewhere else, boy, they'd get it and be huge fans.
Yeah. Well, here's the fact. If you go to an AEW show, who gets the biggest pops? The Young Bucks, Cody, Omega, and Page, the Elite. They get the biggest pops because being the elite.
By the way, Joey Janela gets a pretty good one too, especially.
Well, of course he does. Yeah. And Orange Cassidy gets a major pop as well.
Orange Cat. I'm glad you mentioned that. If you're oh my God, a double stomp through a table onto chairs, onto super crate. What the fuck?
That could kill somebody.
Well, I'm sure what they were thinking is if he covers his body and his torso with the chairs, then it won't puncture the chair. But what a fucking gamble. What a crazy finish. Go out of your way to see this one. Meltzer dug it too. 3 3/4 stars. Really unbelievable. Unbelievable match.
He could have stomped on that chair and one of those rails from bottom of the chair could have impaled.
If you're going to see 2 matches from this show, I would recommend C.W. Anderson and Tommy Dreamer. And then this one, Mikey Whipwreck, Yoshihiro Tajiri taking on Super Crazy and Kid Kash.
Pretty good. Okay, we were talking about Orange Cassidy before that great bump.
Anyway, go out of your way to watch the Best Friends tag team match with Orange Cassidy a couple weeks ago on Dark. When they finally make a hot tag to Orange Cassidy, the place goes fucking bananas.
Yeah.
And I understand, we've got some hardcore traditional wrestling fans listening to this who grew up on Jim Crockett Promotions and they're like, I would never, I get it. But just go out of your way to have an open mind and watch the way the crowd reacts when he tags in, and then tell me there's not something there. And here's the other thing that I think a lot of people have misunderstood about Orange Cassidy, and I get it. But when people see him do the little baby kicks on the shins, which is the way he starts a lot of his matches, where, we're going to go face to face, toe to toe, so to speak. And then he'll just start baby kicking at your shins. Left one, right one, left one, right one, left one, right one, whatever. He's taunting the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not trying to fool you into thinking that he's really kicking the shit out of him. The guy's not selling it because he's not kicking him and he's not trying to convince you he's kicking him. It's almost like a taunt. Like if me and my sister were in the back of the car when we were 12 and he's touching me. No, I'm not, that type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's just to annoy you and piss you off. And then when they finally, hit Orange Cassidy or whatever, then he fires up and now we've got a real match. But it's amazing to me how that gimmick has become so polarizing just because people don't understand it. Look at it. Just watch the reaction and really think about what he's doing and then watch the reaction. And the old timers who hate it, they should love it the most. These motherfuckers have their motto has always been less is more. God damn it. He ain't doing nothing and he's getting huge reactions. You should love it.
And then if you see him perform, you get it because the kid can perform too in the ring.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. He was a traditional wrestler for years and years and years. Go out of your way. Go watch some of his old stuff. Dude can go. Great wrestler. Great mind for the business. Loves the business.
And I have a lot of time for him. Good guy in the backstage. And you talked about this, about some guys being assholes and dickheads, some guys being good guys. There's been an effort, and rightfully done, in AEW that everybody that's hired is a good guy.
Yeah, they're hiring a lot of, as Cody would say, good eggs.
Yeah, and that's important. That's important because it makes coming to work on Wednesdays fun. And when coming to work on Wednesdays is fun in the backstage area, that translates to what you see on camera. And back in the old WCW days, especially in like 99, 2000, it wasn't fun. And therefore what you saw wasn't fun as well. It was a chore. But yeah, Orange Cassidy, man, when I first saw him, I thought, what? But fucking, I'm all about him now, man.
Well, you had to open up. You had to get it.
Yeah. And you get it. The more you see him, I just wish we would, and I guess we're doing it the right way, but I wish we would let him wrestle more or do some of the crazy shit he can do in the ring a little bit more on Dynamite. And I know they got a plan. Listen, the guys putting together AEW have a plan. They're just not, things change week to week. I get it, but they have a long-term plan for everybody, seemingly. So I hope they have a long-term plan for him because, hey, and Trent and Chuck, man, those guys, people love them hugging, but those guys can go too, man. So anyway, enough about sucking up to AEW. Let's go back to Oh, one of our great coaches from AEW once he, gets back healthy.
And Nitro, New World Order and the Crow, Thunder Russo, Arquette Champ, Vinnie Mac, simulcast. Tony's back with Conrad, not your classy podcast. Watch along, try not to laugh. Lowest rules, cat back. This wasn't the initial plan. Tom Zigg's a good-looking man. Klondike Bill, make a chant.